Welcome to another edition of Wings Weekly. Jake Line-Connect here, and once again, Coach Jennings joining me as usual. Coach, a home and home with Bismarck here this weekend, and it ends up being a 3-2 win on Friday night. Kind of a slow start. You know, the first 8 minutes or so felt a little bit sleepy, but some big saves from Castro, and then a nice goal from Gustafson there, kind of got things rolling for the Wings, and again, you come away with a win there. Let's start there. What do you take away from a game like Friday nights?
I think, that's just the growth side of what we've been seeing all year, right? It kind of, with a team like this where we've had to learn how to play the right way, it is a process, right? And you're seeing that process really kind of take hold. And we've been dealing with some illness around the room here, and I think that affected the way our legs were at the start of the game, certainly with some of our guys. And once we get going, I thought I was pretty happy with it. And Castro did what he needed to do to keep us in the game early on, and it was, in the end, the result was really good. It just took us a little bit to get going.
Yeah. Well, then you move on to Saturday, and like we talked about pregame, Saturday in Bismarck is always a tough one. They play well there. Ends up being a 7-4 loss with the empty net goal. Down 3-0 after one. They scored a minute 59 in, and a pretty strong pushback by you guys there in the second, but just not quite enough to dig out of that hole. Thoughts on Saturday's game?
I thought first couple shifts, I liked what we were doing. We gave up that first goal, and I didn't like our reaction to it. I thought we kind of collapsed a little internally, and we chased the game a bit, right? But the resolve that the group showed to push back, and at one point we're down 5-1, and that was really good. I thought I was pretty happy with them sticking with it, finding a way to make plays. We had that big sequence there right at the end of the second, scoring 2 goals back to back, and the leaders that we have on the team needed to step up and lead, and they did it. And the third period we pushed really hard, but again, we're just, when you're chasing, sometimes you're chasing too hard.
Yeah. As you mentioned, 2 quick goals there at the end of the second, and one of them with 3.7 seconds left on the clock, right off the face-off. Galante with a nice goal there. That really felt like it was kind of interesting, because I commented even that it was unfortunate that it ended up going into the locker room after that, because it's kind of like we want to keep going after that,
We had momentum. It was actually Yee's goal.
Oh, it was Yee's goal. Okay.
Yeah, it was Yee's goal. We went back and watched it on the tape there, but it was like just good resolve there with that group. And when you get somebody on the ropes like that, you want to keep pounding. And unfortunately, we have that break, but we just keep going.
And then of course, halfway through that second period there, it just felt like something needed to happen. And right about then, Diamond says, you know what, let's make this happen. And he absolutely beat the brakes off a kid. And it was a well-timed fight, because it just seemed like I said, that, there needs to be a catalyst, and I think I even said in the broadcast that it was almost as though he's recognized that and said, I'll be the one. Let's step up to the mic or whatever, and make something happen. And it definitely did. Get a big crowd there in Bismarck. Got to see a pretty darn good fight there, especially on Diamond's side. But what does your bench, do you guys as a staff, all of that, can you feel that when it's happening, or is it, well, and that's actually leading to something, but when you see that fight start to take place, can you feel the excitement from your guys on the bench?
Oh, I think the guys do, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things that, it happens in the game. Doesn't happen a lot these days. It's a lot different that way. But when that happened, you certainly could feel the energy pick up, and those help with confidence.
Yeah. So what's the message to the locker room after a period like that when you're down 3-0? How do you address that? How do you address the players as a unit? What's said?
You mean after the first period there? Yeah. So we went in and talked about, having a better start. Before the game, we talked about having a better start. We talked about some of the stuff in pre-scout, and some of the stuff that we talked about in pre-scout actually came to happen to us, right? And I think the bigger message there is, this is what hockey is at this time of year, right? You're going to be up in games and you're going to be down in games, and you need to find a way to stay in, and if you're ahead, keep pushing, and if you're behind, climb back out, right? And that was a big part of our talk there. There was I started it off right after the break with, I'd say, some fairly direct feedback. We gave the kids a little bit of break, came back, talked to them about some adjustments we wanted to make. We shuffled the lines up a bit. We pulled, swapped goalies. Like, we were doing everything we could to kind of push and get I'd say the right kick in the rear end for everyone, right, just to wake up. And I thought we started to get some good results off of that.
All right, well, that kind of transitions into my next question. You know, along with the message and along with, you know, the adjustments that you made and so on, as a staff, when you're watching that game, any game, can you pinpoint, can you see what's going wrong? Or is it more of like the devil's in the details kind of thing? Is it a little bit more subtle where it's something you kind of have to search for when you're looking back and you're going, well, what did we do wrong? What did we do right? Obviously, there's going to be some mistakes that are fairly glaring. Others, maybe not so much. But when you've got a slower start or when some things aren't going your way, is it, I don't want to say obvious,
right?
But you know what I mean. Like,
is it easily identifiable?
Yes, that's
so.
A good
Some
one.
of those things are absolutely easily identifiable, and we talk about that on the bench and even between shifts or at the media timeouts, those sort of things. Other things where maybe there's a subtler detail. That's where we, bring the video computer in between periods. We can go back and replay some key situations and really try to dissect. Well, what exactly happened on this?
Sure.
Right. So we can talk about, those sort of things. Right, so it's both, Jay.
Yeah. Okay. I kind of suspected that, that there's going to be some things that are pretty obvious and others that, there's just a little nuance there that isn't quite right or whatever. But, all in all, like you said, this time of year, these are teams, that are fighting for their playoff lives. They're not mathematically eliminated yet and doing everything they can to try to stay alive. And speaking of that, looking at the division and the standings, all teams now with 56 games, so nobody's got games in hand anymore. St. Cloud now with 77 points, top of the division. Wings with 65 in second. Austin in third with 61. Then Minot 59. Bismarck and North Iowa both with 54. Bismarck has the advantage when it comes to the tiebreaker. Of course, you've got Austin next, and then Austin again, but on the road, the long trip to Austin coming up after they played just one night this weekend. And it was against St. Cloud where they ended up winning that game. No secrets really with Austin. You've seen these guys recently. Like I mentioned, you're going to see them again. What do you have to do?
I think pretty much what we did when they were here.
Yeah.
Right. We played. I thought the right way. We need to play. Certainly we lost that first game in overtime on the Friday night, right? And then Saturday we come off with the win. So, I think we played two good games against them. We need to be ready to go. We match up well against them, but they're always hard contests. And we have to know it'll be a physical event. There's going to be a lot of emotion, right? There's a 4-point difference between us. So it's 2 games and we have 4 left, right? So we need to stay with what has been working with us. Our special teams needs to continue to be sharp. I think 5-on-5 play. We need to stick to the process that we're on, and I think we're on a pretty good process. We're not perfect, but when you look at the growth that's gone on with this team, particularly in the second half, I think we've had a pretty strong pushback in the second half, and this is what happens. A season is like going to the gym. Right, you don't walk into the gym on the first day of working out and start bench pressing 350 pounds.
Right.
Right, you kind of have to build to it, and sometimes it's frustrating because you have gains, and then times where you hit a plateau or you lose a little bit of momentum, and now we're getting there. So, we've been pretty. Once we got past, that we had that 5-game slide in January, and we've been pretty good since then. And we want to just stay up on that way. And again, we still have work to go, and that was the message to the guys on Saturday. Right at the end of the game, we still have work to do.
Yeah.
So I think for us with Austin coming in, or us going to Austin and then them coming here, it's about staying focused in it. I know it'll be emotional hockey because, the reality is we're all fighting for our playoff lives. We're fighting for playoff position. They're fighting for qualification. There's going to be a lot on the table, right? And everyone's going to be watching what's going on outside of our rink to see who else is going to be in, right? Yep. So that's the challenge there.
Without a doubt. It's a good way to put that. It's like going to the gym. I like that. All right. Quick message here. I want to say congratulations to the South Dakota team, U14 team, who won the national championship here this morning. Anytime a national championship is achieved, it's a big deal. Yep. So congratulations to all of those skaters.
Sure. And those tournaments are hard to go play in, right? Yep. It's I've had the opportunity to go as a coach and take teams to those tournaments, and getting there is a battle, and then doing well there is even more. And you got to remember that they'll bring 12 teams into a bracket or 16 16 teams, and 15 are going home losers, right? So good deal for those guys, and happy for them.
Yeah, for sure. I think that took place over in Michigan earlier. So again, congratulations to the U14 South Dakota team. Coach, that's all I've got for you. Good luck against Austin coming up this weekend. And once again, as always, thank you for your time.
All right. Thanks, Jay.
We'll return with the second portion of Wings Weekly coming up after this.
We raise the bar on bar food with sandwiches, tenders, and
burgers.
There's more where this came from. To the greatest of all times.
We continue on with Wings Weekly, and as usual, a player joining me. And once again, we have Mason Kelly of Grand Rapids, Michigan, joining me. And like I told Cade last week, when you guys are on the second time, we're not going to go through all of it again. Well, how you got started playing and all that stuff. So we're just going to sit here and kind of just talk a little bit here, okay?
Sounds good.
Well, a big weekend for you. You got your first goal at home on Friday night, and then backed it up with another one there in Bismarck, swatting one out of the air. Gotta love that, right? I know early on, there were times when you were scratched or whatever, and I remember at one point you said, I just want to play, man, and you've put the work in. Coaches have seen that. You're getting some quality minutes. You get an opportunity to have a 2-goal weekend. That's got to feel pretty good.
Does feel really good.
Yeah. So, and talking about the work that you've put in and so on, I've noticed, I talk often about Jackson Yee and the dedication that he has. Of course, wins the Hart Award and the Hard Hat Award.
Absolutely.
But you're not far off. I see you out here a lot. You're doing a little extra skating, a little extra work here or there, spending time with coaches, trying to learn as much as possible. Where does that come from?
I don't really know. I think it's probably something my parents instilled in me at a young age.
Yeah.
Always keep working hard until it works out, and if it doesn't, keep working.
Well, and there's a lot to life that's like that. I always say, that no matter what it is, put the work in, good things happen. So that's pretty interesting. I think it also goes back to the award that you won with the Community Service Award at the awards banquet, putting in so much extra time and volunteering at different Wings events out in the community here in Aberdeen. And it's different, but the same. Like, what drives you to do that? Because there are some things that are required, but there are a lot of things that you went above and beyond, and they weren't required, and you still, volunteered and stuff where maybe other guys wouldn't or didn't. Well, where does that come from?
I think it's also from my parents again, but yeah. I also think it's something that's like, it's something new. I can learn from something that I'm volunteering in. I think it's more of just a learning experience for me, so I can learn more, gain more experience, and keep moving forward.
Sure. Is there any level of kind of giving back to the fans and to the community, in a way to almost, I don't know if I want to say like to thank them or show support, back to them in a way?
Absolutely, because they show support for us here every night, every Friday night here at home. So it's like also repaying that back is to give some of my time to help those that need some extra time.
Whether it's with kids or with seniors at the senior center or whatever it might be, it's awesome to see you just putting in that extra time. And again, it's certainly noticed and noticeable. Appreciate that. We talked about your 2-goal weekend, a tough loss there on Saturday night in Bismarck. And I talked with Coach a little bit about what the message was to the team and stuff. Now I want to ask you, what's the locker room like? Are you guys, building each other up and trying to, or is there's some yelling, is there some arguing about, because it could turn, where people are starting to blame one another or whatever when a game isn't going your way like that one. What was the locker room like?
So in experiences that I've had in the past other teams, if we had that exact same situation in another team, we would have crumbled down. But with this team in here, everyone was picking each other up. No one was sniping at each other. We were only helping each other out in here.
Great. Big deal. I mean, it really is, because like I said, it could easily happen, and I've seen it.
Make or breaks the team.
Yeah, and this late in the season, when you're getting ready for playoffs and stuff, it's that much more important to keep that foundation solid. We're not chipping away at it when things aren't going your way. But by the same token, there's got to be a level of frustration in the room too.
Oh, definitely. We definitely got stunned, and we're like, and then we're like, we're gonna go back out. We're gonna fix it. That was our That's how we were when we were exiting for the second period there.
And again, being on the road, that was a pretty hostile crowd. I mean, I would mention on the broadcast there that I think that's probably the fullest I've seen the VFW Center there in Bismarck for quite some time. There's a lot of people, so
it was buzzing in there.
Yeah.
Give it to them.
Anyway, like Coach and I always talk about, that's in the rearview mirror now. You move ahead to Austin, and we'll talk about them coming up in just a little bit here. But I wanted to talk a little bit about your time here in Aberdeen. I mean, you're a guy that doesn't have a player as a billet brother. You billet alone, or as the only wings player in a home. Do you ever feel like you miss out on some stuff? Or there's other places where there's 2 or 3 players or something like that? Or do you like that?
I mean, I like to sometimes. I go in waves. So if I like to go out and hang out with people, I'll just call one of the teammates and we'll all get together and we'll have a good time. But
Sure.
At the same time, I can go to bed at a good time. Don't have to worry about billet brother, as in teammates just making noise, trying to wake me up.
Right.
Get to drive myself. Don't have to wait for them after the rink, so I can stay as long as I like.
Yeah. Good point. You don't have it to anybody else that you have to be responsible for or whatever in that sense. And I ask that because I've known players over the years that have preferred to live in a home alone versus having other players with them. And then I've known people that really prefer to be in a house where there's 2 or 3 guys. So it really kind of depends. I thought that was kind of interesting. Okay, so I wanted to ask a little bit about a couple of goofy questions here for you, though.
Sounds good.
If there were a movie written about your life, okay?
All right.
And it's the life and times of Mason Kelly. What actor is going to play that role? Who do you see playing your role?
That is a good question. Just because I'm really into that actor right now, Jake Gyllenhaal. I don't know, just into his movies right now, so
Okay.
can't.
Good choice, right? I mean, good actor.
I'm into him.
I was trying to think of somebody that maybe would even look a little like you. I wouldn't say that. Not Jake Gyllenhaal
I don't know,
there.
I've just been watching a lot of his movies
Yeah.
recently, so
He's going to do a good job with it.
Exactly.
Basically what. All right, how about this? Now, this is a 2-part question. What is your favorite smell?
Favorite smell?
And on the second part of this is there a weird smell that you like? Because some people really like the smell of gas or asphalt or fresh cut grass or whatever it might be. You know what I mean? There's different things like that.
So I would say the smell that I like, I guess, is the lemon. The lemon smell.
Citrusy kind of?
Yeah, I like the grapefruit smell is really good.
Okay.
An odd smell, I guess I would say grass clippings that go on when you mow the lawn. It smells good, especially in the morning. Gasoline.
Not so much.
Not so much.
But I mean, I know people that really like the smell of tar or whatever, or diesel fuel, whatever it might be. So I just had to ask that question. It just popped into my mind on my way out here that it was a kind of a. You never know what kind of answer you're going to get. That's why.
It's true.
All right, so Austin coming up. Now, we've got Austin on the road. Take that trip this coming weekend, and then they come here.
Yeah.
Always a challenge when you're playing a team over and over again, basically like that. And Austin's a very physical team, too. What do you think that as a team that you guys have to do, against a team that you're going to see 4 times in the final 4 games?
I think we got to stick to the game plan. I know it sounds really generic and everything, but because we're quicker than them, if we just keep moving our feet through the hits, hit them, just keep moving, I think we'll have a good next 4 games with them.
Looking forward to it. Well, at the awards ceremony, when you came up, Coach Stefan made a comment, or maybe it was even at the jersey auction. I can't remember which, but either way, he mentioned you and said you're the only one that has the biggest smile on your face every time you get into a fight. What is that all about? Do you really enjoy it that much, or is it because that you added something to the game, or where does it come from?
I don't know. I guess it's just an extra. I don't know. It puts a smile on my face. I guess it's the best way to. I don't know. It's fun.
I feel like there should be some psychological testing done to figure that one out. Just kidding. Obviously, you like violence, huh? No, and I asked Coach about this when Diamond drops the gloves there at center ice at VFW Center. What's the bench do? Is everybody here we go?
Yeah. Benches, because we know Diamond always was itching for his first official no fight.
Yeah.
But because it's good to see him do that.
Yeah, and that, like Coach and I talked about on the bus afterwards, it was a well-timed fight. It felt like something had to happen.
It gave the team an extra boost.
Without a doubt.
It definitely did.
All right. Well, like I mentioned, we've got Austin coming up, and you mentioned it. Stick to the game plan. Listen to what coaches have to say as they get you guys prepared to take on the Bruins. Again, folks, for the next 4 games in a row, 2 on the road there, and then back home at the ODI Center. We're down to the final 2 weekends of the regular season hockey, and they're both, again, as I was just saying, against the Bruins. And fans can watch away games using their Hockey TV login or at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Aberdeen, the official home for all Wings away games. The game's audio is broadcast via Hub City Radio's 94.1 The Rock, or you can listen on the Rock app on your mobile device. We'll be back home on Friday and Saturday, April 15th and 16th for the final weekend of the regular season. Stay tuned to AberdeenWings.com for game day information. Don't forget, Wings Weekly is now a podcast. Find the audio for this season's episodes on Spotify, Stitcher, or iHeartRadio. And for all the latest news and information on the Wings, visit AberdeenWings.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on TikTok. Mason Kelly, second time this year joining me here on Wings Weekly. I really appreciate you taking some time to chat with us.
Thanks for having me again.
You bet.
It's awesome.
All right, folks, that'll wrap up this week's Wings Weekly.